Hey, welcome back to more detailed introduction videos to Lonely Lobster. I'm glad that you're here, and I will give my very best in the next minutes to show you around the application. Now, where are we at the moment? We are on the home page here, and as I already have mentioned in the first video, in order to get the full functionality of Lonely Lobster, especially access to the backend who does all the calculations and simulations, send me just an email with this link here, and I will make sure that you get a guest account that allows you to access the backend. Also, you find a link to written documentation of the application, and it gives you some background about lean manufacturing and what my motivations were, and so on and so forth. But also, it gives you detailed descriptions about Lonely Lobster, the application functionality, the terminology, and so on and so forth. Be aware that this written documentation provides you more information than what I show in this video here. Okay, now without further ado, now let's use the application. First of all, you need to recognize here the application bar. It has very symbols, one of which is home. That's where we are at the moment. And then we have upload. With upload, I can select a JSON file, which is in Lonely Lobster format, and it describes a configuration. A configuration is actually the description of a simulation system that we will see a little later. And what it is, you will get it very quickly once we get to the right point here, but bear with me for a minute. Now, let's select rather simple, and then the system says the current system configuration's name is rather simple. It consists of one value chain with two process steps and two workers overall. And what you can see here, by the way, is the event configuration file loaded. So that is green, and it shows that the loading of the configuration file into your browser here was successful. Now, how does it look, this configuration that we loaded? We can go into the editor by pressing on this pencil here, and that is the editor of Lonely Lobster. It says the system name is rather simple, okay, and then it has value chains, namely just one, it's alpha. The name is alpha. Now the value add is 5, which means this is a kind of a currency. It's just 5, and this is the value that is generated by a work order being processed until it is then an end product and handed over to the customer. So the customer would pay 5 money units to you for getting the end product. Then it has two process steps assigned to this value chain alpha. It is namely 1 and it is 2. So you can, of course, use any name you want, but in my case, I just wanted to make sure that you're not distracted by real world scenarios. So I just say it's 1 and 2, and the norm effort associated with this process step, which is the amount of work that has to be done on a work item before it's finished in this process step, is 1 here. It's 1 unit of effort. And then here in 2, it's 2. What does this really mean? It means that a worker has to work 1 time unit on this item before it's ready and can then flow on to the next process step, namely 2 here. And in 2, there needs to be 2 time units where each of which a worker needs to work this work item before it then finally flows on and is then ready to be delivered to the customer. It's important to understand that it is not necessary that both of these time units where someone works on it needs to be done by the same worker. So it could be worker A doing the first step and worker B doing the next step. So that's not necessary to have just one worker assigned to one work item. Speaking of workers, we have 2 workers assigned here in the system. In the configuration, it's Sally and Rusty. And what we can see is Sally is assigned to alpha 1, to the first process step here in the value chain alpha, and also to the second one here. And Rusty is assigned to the second one, helping out Sally, to cope with the workload that's coming in. All the other parameters here and here we will skip for the moment, so bear with me. We will come back to that a little later. Now I think we are ready to go and would like to see this configuration instantiated as a system and simulated in the back end. But this is something for the next video. Looking forward to seeing you again.